Yo, what is up YouTube? James Baek here. Welcome back to another episode of VGC 2019 Baek Battles. It is finally time for a brand new team. Yes, it is finally time for a brand new team. It's been a while since I've done this, but hopefully I'm not too rusty at it. We are using a brand new team today, consisting of Dialga and Kyogre. I think Dialga is a really good Pokemon. All the Rayquaza. Rayquaza has been a super popular Pokemon lately, and I really want to try out something that can deal well against Rayquaza, and Dialga is always one of those fun Pokemon that can do really well against Rayquaza. So I thought, let's try Dialga out. I think Dialga is a really fun Pokemon, is able to take the Dragon Sense well, which is really nice, and I think it's a really good Pokemon right now. There's not so much that can hit it immediately other than, Groudon, obviously. The Groudon usage has been falling quite a bit because we've had the builds of like Kyogre and X-Ray start rising up more, overtaking the Zerndon. So we'll see how this works. We're gonna get Gregory here from the United States, 1510 rating, as our first opponent of today. Toxapex. Okay, so it's been a while since the last time that I played Battle Spot. I did stream recently, and if you haven't checked out my streams, highly recommend go checking it out. Link in the description down below, twitch.tv/JamesSpeed1. But I will be trying to stream more often, as I am trying to get more prep for NAIC that is coming up, as well as the Pokemon World Championship in a few months. So let's see here. We got Necrozma, Xerneas, Kangaskhan, Incineroar, Toxapex, and Tapu Fini. So not sure how well Dialga's gonna do. We also don't know if it is an Ultra Necrozma, but that's what we would assume here. Ferrothorn's really good here, as long as I can deal with the Incineroar. Like, Ferrothorn does really well against my opponent's team overall, so that's definitely something I want to consider, especially when I can get a Trick Room up. I think that's the game plan I exactly want to go. I think gonna go Dialga plus Incineroar is a pretty good lead off the bat. Being able to have Fake Out Pressure, intimidate the Kangaskhan is really nice. We want Ferrothorn in the back, and I think Kyogre is really good because we have ways to hit the opposing Incineroar, which could give us some trouble, as well as protect our Ferrothorn and do a good amount of damage to the Tapu Fini and the Toxapex, because we do run Thunder on our Kyogre, as well as just hitting everything else with a strong Origin Pulse, which my opponent doesn't appreciate. So this game's really going to come down to how well I can handle the Pokemon that can threaten Ferrothorn. Specifically, it's going to be the Incineroar and potentially that Kangaskhan, whether it carries a Fighting type move like Low Kick, or maybe even like a tech move like Fire Punch, for instance, which we have seen in the past. So hopefully my commentary is not too rusty, but I will try my best to get back into the swing of things as quickly as possible. Another reason why I am streaming more often. So we're going to see my Dialga Incineroar lead right off the bat, and hopefully yeah, my mic is on. That could have been bad. Kangaskhan and Incineroar are going to take the field, which is an interesting pick here, which I really don't mind here because of the fact that, yeah, sure, Kangaskhan and Incineroar do take the lead, but really they're intimidated, which is really great here. -1 attack, really good. My Dialga should be able to tank attacks pretty well. Low Kick's going to do a lot, though, and that's something that is pretty big. And the Incineroar can U-turn on my opponent's side. Looks like we have a faster Incineroar, which is also good to note. I'd be really happy if I could get Trick Room up, but I don't think Trick Room would be a really wise option here to start off the bat. I think, would you Fake Out my Incineroar? I really don't think so, unless you maybe have Roar on your Incineroar to stop deny Trick Room. I really think I just want to U-turn out right here into the Kangaskhan. Getting a bit of chip on Kangaskhan is really nice, as well as being able to bring in Kyogre, for instance. Get my Incineroar back in for another Intimidate round sounds really solid to me right here. And even if this doesn't work out, sure, I don't think it's like the end of the world right here. So let us see what my opponent does. Like, Incineroar's not going to be knocked out here by the combination of these two Pokemon. Might take some chip, but that's alright. As Fake Out going to come out, does tar down to Dialga, and let's see what my opponent does, as we will U-turn out here into the Kangaskhan. So that Kangaskhan is going to take a bit of chip. Can't tell if that's bulky or not. We are -1, so the U-turn damage isn't exactly that familiar. I'm going to go Kyogre here, just because I can direct him with an Origin Pulse and a switch to Incineroar the following turn. Don't want Dialga to get too weakened right away because of the fact that it is my main Trick Room setter. And the fact is, like, I want Dialga healthy because of the fact I did EV my Dialga to live a +2 Moonblast from Timid Max Special Attack Xerneas, which is the standard one, or they usually run less. Not many players do opt for the modest, but even then it would be a roll. So We'll bring out the Kyogre here as we are going to see a knockoff actually come out. Rare move. It is going to be into my Kyogre slot, which was the Incineroar, so maybe trying to knock off the Berry. But that works out great for me because since Kyogre does not hold an item technically because of its blue orb, that can't be knocked off. Doesn't do much damage, and now we're in a phenomenal spot where really I just don't see anything wrong with just going my own Incineroar right here and throwing off an Origin Pulse. There isn't really switching my opponent has. The water types can come out, but I do have that Thunder in the back, and gain that Origin Pulse chip damage might just put my opponent's Pokemon in Origin Pulse range. And yeah, Incineroar is not really going to take too much from a low kick. This Kyogre is pretty defensively bulky, so even after these two Intimidates, like this Kangaskhan's not really going to be doing too much. I'm really happy about the position I'm in. Like, of course, the worst case is hitting Origin Pulse, but that's the risk I do run with this team. And running Origin Pulse in the first place. We're going to see Drain Punch actually come out from the Kangaskhan, not even low kick. Okay. So going to be able to heal back to full HP, I guess. But as you can see, thanks to those two Intimidates, really just not doing any damage at all to my Incineroar. My Incineroar takes a little bit over 25%, like 30%. Origin Pulse, we do connect, which is fortunate, especially on that Incineroar, which is a big threat to my Ferrothorn, as I mentioned before. And we are just able to knock out the Incineroar. And look at all that damage to Kangaskhan. That is very fantastic damage, as we are able to get rid of the Incineroar. And right now, my Ferrothorn's in a very prime position here to win the game, as mentioned before. Getting rid of that Incineroar. Perhaps my opponent let off with it, but it works out fantastically for us, as Xerneas is going to come out, which is fine. We are max attack Ferrothorn, so I don't think we really need much chip on the Xerneas. I think I could just go for the fake out in the Xerneas and just launch a Thunder and a Kangaskhan. I don't really need the Origin Pulse chip damage. Seems a bit unnecessary, and like there's a chance Kangaskhan could switch out. So we're gonna see the fake out from my opponent's Kangaskhan. Don't really see any reason why. Maybe my opponent forgot you can only use fake out on the first turn, or it only works on the first turn. But yeah, not even able to get chip. I am able to get rid of the Kangaskhan there, and now it's a really quick 4v2. I used Thunder just to, in case my opponent tried to cover for a Feeny switch, which was a potential possibility. We'll see when my opponent decides to opt here, though. It's going to be that Necrozma coming out here. Necrozma doesn't get any moves that can threaten Ferrothorn, if I remember right, so I think I could just go for a U-turn into my opponent and an Origin Pulse. I really don't need these Pokemon. Really, I just need to try to get the Ferrothorn in to win the game, but the match is just going to be forfeited because I think my opponent realizes, oh, there's not really much I can do at that point in the game. Like, Kyogre's doing a lot of damage, and Incineroar's still raring to go. There was the Dialga at full HP in the back, as well as you would assume I bring Ferrothorn in that matchup because there is not really much of a Xerneas answer otherwise. So we're able to take a really strong game one. I think just the lead for my opponent was not really great for my opponent. You had double fake out. You weren't really threatening anything. Like, the turn one was basically perfect where I was able to get that free switch in. And I think that was huge because of the fact that Kyogre just threatened a very powerful Origin Pulse. As you saw, since my opponent didn't even opt to bring any of the water types, I was just able to draw off an Origin Pulse. There was no switching. Like, my opponent was at least taking 50% minimum with either of the two Pokemon, unless it was like an Assault Vest Necrozma, for instance. So, or just maybe a really spit death with Necrozma, but even then, that's not really a thing. As we got our next opponent from Canada, 1526 rating, running a Yvel Ogre team. Looks like the standard one with Togedemaru. Don't know if this is Perish or not, but if it is Perish, I guess it could be annoying. Yeah, it could be annoying. My opponent's team doesn't like Kyogre, though, which is a positive, I guess. What do I want to do here? Togedemaru is actually really scary for my team to handle. And so is Yveltal. Actually, Yveltal is very scary. If I can get rid of Togedemaru, though, I'm in a really solid position. I think Kyogre and Incineroar is just a good lead overall against my opponent's team. Like, the worst threatening lead is probably like Gengar Incin because of the fact you could go for a Perish Song. Yeah, that would be like the only big concern. I want to bring Coco. I mean, I bring Ferrothorn always. The question is, what's my last Pokemon? I don't like Salamence in this matchup. Dialga could do some work, but I feel like it's really passive. And if this is a Trick Room team, not really that good here. I don't even think my opponent brings the Bronze Song. so I don't even think it's worth it. I think I'm gonna bring Coco just in case. I do have a switch into my opponent's Kyogre in my Ferrothorn, and plus if I had the faster Kyogre, I could switch into Coco and go for a Thunder right off the bat, which would do a lot of damage to my opponent's Kyogre. But of course there's a Togedemaru to be scared of. Like, Togedemaru is going to be the really big pain here to deal with. Looks like my opponent also has the same idea with the Kyogre and Incineroar lead here, as we will lead my Kyogre and Incineroar. This is going to be interesting. So let's see who is faster. My opponent's Incineroar is faster. That's good to confirm. We also don't know where the Z move is on my opponent's side. Incineroar could be carrying it. It could also be the Bronzong with Z Trick Room. So those are things to confirm here. Let's see whose Kyogre is faster. Looks like, I want to say that's mine. I can't tell whose side it is. I'm pretty sure that's my side of the field. Yeah, that's my side of the field. Okay, awesome. We had the faster Kyogre, which is good here. We could probably just protect and go out into our... It really depends here on what I want to do. You want to assume Fake Out just goes out into the Kyogre right in a Water Spout. That'd be a safe play for my opponent since you have the fast Incineroar. Maybe you don't want to risk that, so you switch out. I really do want to draw off an Origin Pulse off the bat. And you know what? I think drawing off an Origin Pulse might be worth it. I don't have Water Spouts, so I'm not really too worried about the damage I'm going to take immediately. Ferrothorn could come in, and I don't want my opponent's Incineroar, let's say, getting a position to U-turn out, which is something that would be really bad here. Togedemaru are going to take the stage, which is fine here, which actually works perfectly in my favor, I think. I think Yveltal is the last Pokemon, so there's no Gengar Bronzong I think I'm going to have to deal with, which is nice. Ferrothorn going to come out here, and Fake Out going to come out into Kyogre. Yeah, okay. That's pretty much best case scenario, actually, because I need to protect right here, because I do have Bulldoze on my Ferrothorn, so what I could do here is just get some speed control up. If Togedemaru stays in, it's going to take a Bulldoze, which it does not appreciate. It might be a Super Fang, though, into the Ferrothorn. I don't think Z-Move into Super Fang would knock out Ferrothorn, which is one positive note that I do have, and then I should be able to outspeed and knock out the Togedemaru, even if it's Assault Vest with Origin Pulse, assuming I hit. So we're in a pretty good spot here. I think worst case if the Yveltal comes in for the Togedemaru slot, but I think that's going to come out for the Incineroar slot potentially, yeah. Here comes the Yveltal on my opponent's side, not too big of a deal in my opinion. I could go Incineroar for the following turn, which is really good here. We will protect our Kyogre, and let's see what my opponent decides to do. It's going to be a Nuzzle into the Kyogre slot, which is great for me, because we are able to get Bulldoze, and that's going to do huge amount of damage into that Togedemaru, so that's fantastic. So here comes that Bulldoze. Oh, jeez, that damage. That damage is beautiful. I don't want Kyogre taking too much damage, though, from a Z-Foul play that's commonly on the Yveltals. I don't know if this might be Wolf's variant, since it does have a Togedemaru. Could be potentially one of those Snarl variants on the Yveltal, and if that is the case, Origin Pulse might be very free to throw off here. It would do a lot of damage to my opponent's side of the field. I could also go Incineroar here for my Ferrothorn, and it might be worth, I think. I think I'm just going to go Incineroar here and just Origin Pulse. If I hit the Togedemaru, I just knock it out, and it looks like Togedemaru's staying in, so as long as I hit, I get a huge advantage right here. I feel like I need both Origin Pulses to hit. Kind of the drawbacks of not running Water Spout, but let's see if we can connect, because if we do, we're in a fantastic spot here. Snarl is going to come out, so it is going to be one of those bulky Yveltal, so I don't have to worry about Z-Foul play, I think. So that's nice. It's probably the bulky berry set, I'm assuming. And Kyogre, as long as you hit the Togedemaru, I think I'm fine. Okay. Okay, that's fine. That is not the worst case scenario. Okay. Worst case scenario was literally... worst case scenario would have literally been the... yeah. Not the worst spot possible. Chip damage would have been really nice to Yveltal, obviously. Even if it was a -1 Origin Pulse, it would still probably have done about at least 25%. We do have Coco in the back, though, which is positive, and we got rid of that Togedemaru. So if we can get a free switch in our Coco, that's really nice. Don't think that's super necessary, though. I could switch out either of these Pokemon into the Ferrothorn, which would be really nice here. And Ferrothorn for the Kyogre slot looks really good if my opponent keeps wanting to spam Snarl, so I think I'm just going to fake out the Kyogre and go hard Ferrothorn. I think that is the best play that I do have right now. So let's see what my opponent decides to do. Maybe Tailwind here? I'm not exactly too sure, but we will just fake out the Kyogre here, as we do see another Snarl. So Snarl avoids, the damage probably really doesn't matter unless you have Scald and you have like no investment, which could be the case. We do flinch the Kyogre. Do I want to Gyro Ball the Yveltal? I think you foul play here. I want to Power Whip the Kyogre because if Incineroar decides to come in, I catch the double with Kyogre, which is what I'm going into. And if you stay in, I get a bunch of damage into Power Whip, assuming I connect. Foul Play and a Water Spout won't knock me out anyway. Scald Burn would, I guess, hurt if you decide to go, if you have Scald and go for the Scald Burn affair for him. But as long as I get damage into Kyogre, I think that's really good for me right off the bat. And I don't know if Incineroar is going to come out for either one of these slots. But if it does, we're in a fine position. If it doesn't, we're still in a good position regardless. So, Z move. Okay. Is this special or physical? If it's special, we have Assault Vest, so we should take it fine. If it's physical, I'm questioning it. But, I mean, I get a free switch into my Tapu Koko. And I think Tapu Koko is in a really good spot. So, I don't think I mind either way. But here comes the Black Hole Eclipse. We'll find out. It's Intimidated too if it's physical, and we have Assault Vest if it's special. So let's see. I can't tell. I don't know if I'll live the Water Spout though. It is chipped a bit, but oh, Fairfern being clutch. If we can hit the Power Whip, we're in such a good position. Oh, beautiful. That is very nice. Okay, awesome. Awesome, awesome. Sweet. So we're able to get rid of that. We're able to get rid of Kyogre, which is fantastic. And Incineroar is able to come in. But yeah, this Fairfern putting in some work right now, as it is able to survive on 2 HP. We can go for a switch to Incineroar right here. And we can go for the Protect with Kyogre. Very safe play. There's not really much my opponent can do to punish it. Then we can fake out Origin Pulse. And basically, once we get rid of this Incineroar, Tapu Koko wins the game. Once it comes out, I can U-turn out into it and get into a very fine position where I can just click a Gigavolt. I don't have Gigavolt Havoc actually. I have Barium Z, which would be able to knock out the Yveltal. And I have Thunder, which would also knock out the Yveltal as long as I get a little bit of chip damage onto it. So we are in a very good spot there. I really can't tell if that's physical or special Yveltal though, unfortunately. Unfortunately, my calcs are a little bit messed up right there, so I can't really tell what kind of Yveltal set that is. Maybe I can tell based on the Snarl damage, but we'll see here. We will go Incineroar here. There's no reason not to go Incineroar here. We can save Fairfront as a sack just to bring Incineroar back in case I miss the Origin Pulse into the Incineroar slot this upcoming turn. So we would rotate because my opponent would probably be forced to Snarl again. A Snarl is going to come out from my opponent's Yveltal. And let's see. Maybe Incineroar has something that can pull this back. Don't know what it could really have to pull this back though. As Special Attack falls. Darkest Lariat. Okay. So I wonder if the Incineroar has Z move too. I know Wolf's Incineroar had Throat Chop the last time when he played in Berlin. So let's see here. Fake Out plus Origin Pulse should be a fine play. And as long as we connect, we should have this. As the match is going to be forfeited, I think my opponent realizes there's not really much you can do. You can't really beat Incineroar, you can't really beat the Kyogre, as long as Kyogre hits its attacks. Maybe my opponent thought I had Water Spouts, I'd have a guaranteed way, or maybe Scald to guarantee... Actually, no, you shouldn't think I have Scald. No one really runs Scald plus Origin Pulse. So maybe my opponent thought I had Water Spout, would be able to get guaranteed damage onto Incineroar regardless and two-shot it. So, yeah. I think we'll go for one more game, but yeah, pretty good work so far. The Dialga hasn't done anything yet, which is the unfortunate part. We haven't faced the Rayquaza yet, which is a factor though. Dialga is really good against the Rayquaza teams, but we haven't faced one yet. We faced Xerneas, Necrozma, which we brought Dialga. It just, the game ended before it really did anything. And then we had the matchup we weren't bringing Dialga in. We don't really bring... Well, we could have brought Dialga against the Yveltal, but I think Tapu Koko and Incineroar, Kyogre and Fairfront were pretty much the right Pokemon that I had to pick in that matchup. But I just don't see why I wouldn't bring Koko. Does so much threatening if Togedemaru is done on the field. Fairfront's a good switch in. good damage dealer to my opponent's team. Didn't have many answers to it, especially in the Primordial Sea. The Incineroar, no brainer, switching to Yveltal. And good for Bronzong and Gengar, especially I can U-turn out against the Parish. If it is a Parish Gengar, we don't know yet. And then Kyogre was just super strong against my opponent's team. So, yeah, no reason not to pick those 4 Pokemon, but was able to get a really nice position with that Bulldoze in the Totodile. Bulldoze, Fairforn really coming in clutch there. Because of the fact we had Bulldoze, we were able to threaten the Totodile, get that speed control up. And that's kind of what this team does. It likes getting speed control. I built it for speed control around the Kyogre. Like, Kyogre is a big factor on this team, being able to threaten a lot of things in the format, and having that speed control with Kyogre is so huge. It just allows Kyogre to put in a ton of work. But we aren't able to find a game, so I think we're just going to cut it out till we find one. We'll be right back with the next game of today's episode. Okay, the video started chopping up a bit. It might still be chopping up now. Hopefully it's not, but it looks like it's better. We got like a 1692 rated player with another Xerneas Necrozma team, this time with Incineroar, Tapu Lele, Amoonguss, and the Salamence. Now, the one thing that did change in this matchup is going to be that Amoonguss. Amoonguss is kind of annoying for my team, which is why we have Tapu Koko, except I don't think I would really be bringing Tapu Koko into this. It looks like we have an Ultra Necrozma. Usually they're paired with Tapu Lele. You have an Incineroar, you have a Ferrothorn. So I think this game's really going to come down to how well I can prepare against this. I think I can go Kyogre, Dialga once again. I think Kyogre, Dialga is a fine option that I have because of the fact that Ferrothorn can win this game if correct, and having that trick and pressure would be amazing against my opponent's team. Salamence, not really that great here. I could only see myself bringing Koko. I do have Farium on the Koko, which is nice for 2 of the Mons and Salamence and the Necrozma. And obviously changing the latest terrain, but honestly, the terrain my opponent's team might help me more because of the fact my opponent would be able to fake out stall with like the Incineroar, for instance, into my Ferrothorn if terrain is up. I also don't know if he would really bring the Tapu Lele, so we'll see what goes on here. But yeah, that is the game plan. Basically get Ferrothorn into that good position if the Xerneas does decide to lead. If it's a Necrozma lead, a Calm Mind Necrozma lead, that could be a bit scary. We do have Dragon Pulse though, which is super nice. So we'll go Kyogre plus the Dialga here as the lead against the Amoonguss Necrozma. Okay. Ooh, that's super scary actually. I wonder if Ice Beam Dragon Pulse would get rid of that Amoonguss. If it does, we're in a fantastic position. If not, this kind of makes it a bit awkward. Also, yeah, the video looks like it's chopping up a bit. I can tell by the audio. I definitely want to Ice Beam here and Dragon Pulse. Does Flash Cannon do more? I'm pretty sure Dragon Pulse does more. I don't think you would be going hard Lele here anyway. 85, 80? Yeah. Okay. Did get that right. So we'll Ice Beam here and go for the Dragon Pulse. I guess worst case if Amoonguss protects, but I'd be really surprised if there would be a protect. I think you would attempt to Spore here if anything. And yeah, let's see if this works out well. I also don't see I guess Lele could come in Fury, but I don't know if he would go hard Lele right off the bat. Again, I don't think my opponent really brought the Lele. We'll see here. Calm Mind going to come out for Necrozma. It is a fast Necrozma, we can tell, so you can confirm it's pretty much Ultra. I think we live 1 Earth Power though, after the boost. We'll get an Ice Beam off. I want to say Dragon Pulse should KO. We're modest on the Dialga. And if we don't, we're in a bad spot. It does. Okay, good. So we get rid of Amoonguss, which is really nice. And even though I said Amoonguss wasn't really that important, it was technically kind of important in the sense that the Amoonguss was really annoying in the fact that it could Spore. And just dealing with this Necrozma would be a lot more of a pain. We're going to see the Xerneas come out, which is a surprise here, I think. Could go Ferrothorn, which I'm thinking of. I could draw off an Origin Pulse. Again, I don't think Earth Power would knock out Dialga, and I think it would activate Berry. This could be a bait to bring out... No, you don't have Lele. You have Incineroar in the back for sure. Let me Ferrothorn here. Trick Room. I can't risk Photon Geyser into Moonblast in a Kyogre and it knocking out my Kyogre. That's my biggest fear, because then I don't have anything to deal with the Incineroar effectively. I feel like the best place just to get my Ferrothorn in, especially if the Xerneas Geomancies. I think we're in a good spot. So we'll bring out Ferrothorn right here, and we'll see what my opponent decides to do. Alright, so Ultra Necrozma is going to reveal itself. I don't think this should knock out, but who knows? I really don't know this calc. I have not played a Dialga with Ultra Necrozma. Yeah, okay, nice. That special defense on Dialga really coming in clutch as we are able to get Trick Room up, and we should live a Moonblast from the Xerneas too, because we live +2 Moonblast naturally. Geomancy is going to come out, which is perfect. That's basically the best case scenario, I guess, because now we get to go for a Gyro Ball here into the Xerneas, and I think we just get to go for a Dragon Pulse into Necrozma and do some chip damage. And yeah, we're in a fantastic spot, I think. Because the Xerneas is now boosted. Necrozma could lose his boost if it switches in Incineroar, which is fine. Trick Room is up, so we have 4 turns to deal with this Xerneas. And we're only going to need about 2 or 3, I think. So we'll go for the Gyro Ball right here into the Xerneas. And just try to chip away this Necrozma with some Dragon Pulse. Like, it's not doing much to Ferrothorn, so I think I'm in a fine spot regardless. If Xerneas switches out, we're in a good position. If it protects, like Necrozma has to switch out Incineroar to keep the Xerneas alive, potentially. So we're in a very good spot regardless. And Dragon Ball should do about, I want to say at least that's 40%. We're going to see the Necrozma switch out though into the Incineroar, which is a fine play. Alright. So going to get Intimidate off. You want to assume the Xerneas protects here. Yeah. I feel like Kyogre for the Dialga is just so obvious though. Yeah, I think it'd be so obvious. And I don't really want my opponent to get into a position. That Dragon Pulse actually did a lot of damage. I don't want my opponent to get into a position where you're able to crit the Moonblast in my Kyogre. So I think the best play is actually just a Flash Cannon, because the worst case scenario here would be if the Xerneas goes for a Double Protect, gets it, but I feel like my opponent's just going to fake out Ferrothorn and Dazzling Gleam or even Moonblast. So I think the best play is just to damage the Xerneas to put in the range of Gyro Ball 100%, or my opponent decides to go for the Raw Flare Blitz. I should be able to knock out the Xerneas with the double up regardless. So, or U-turn come out. Wow. Out of any play, I'm very surprised the U-turn decided to come out. I guess maybe you were definitely trying to catch the Kyogre switch, and I think. I guess that makes sense, but I don't know. I feel like you would try to fake out the Ferrothorn, if anything. We are going to be able to get a Flash Cannon off into the Xerneas. It knocks it out. We're in a fantastic spot now to win this game. Like, we're in an absolutely fantastic spot to win this game now. Nice. Is Incineroar going to come back out? I'm pretty sure I just get a free switch into both my Incineroar and Kyogre at this point. And yeah, I just don't see a really big drawback to that. If I go Incineroar here and Kyogre, you're probably just going to fake out Calm Mind. That's my assumption of your play here. So I'm going to go Kyogre. I'm going to go Incineroar here. Because if you Calm Mind, I can Snarl. That's the thing. Like, if you try to Calm Mind, I can Snarl. And Snarl is pretty big here. Also, I don't think the Necrozma can beat the Ferrothorn anymore, like, realistically. If it's Calm Mind or Power Photon Guys to protect, it really just can't touch my Ferrothorn anymore. Even with the boost, we do have our Assault Vest, and the fact is Necrozma can only target one Pokemon at a time. My Ferrothorn's really not doing much here, so I rather retreat it, especially with its Intimidate. And again, I think we're in a perfect position to click Fake Out and Origin Pulse the following turn, or Snarl, or whatever I really want to click at this point, because I can click a bunch of moves, and I think win the game at this point, as long as I don't miss like a bunch of Origin Pulse in a row. But yeah, that would require that. So let's see. We should also live Earth Power at +1 with our Incineroar. Fake Out gonna come out into the Dialga slot. Okay. Oh, Light That Burns the Sky. Surprised the Z move is coming out, but maybe you expected to switch into the Kyogre? it would be a very impressive play, but I think Calm Mind was better. Maybe you're trying to crit the... Oh, maybe you're trying to crit for the end game. Let's see. Well, I'll see you after this animation if it goes off. Gotta give my props for reading the Kyogre switch, and I guess I should switch out Incineroar for the other slot, but I think we're still in a fine position at this point in the game. As long as we hit the Origin Pulse, I think we're fine. I'm not letting my opponent crit my Kyogre, though, with like a Darkest Lariat if you have it, so I'm gonna fake out the Incineroar and hope I can just connect this one Origin Pulse that I do need. Nice, and that should seal up the game. If we missed it, it actually had been scary, I think. It would have been super scary because of the fact that it'd been Dialga, which might have gone down to the Earth Power, and Fairforn, which would have gone down to a potential Flare Blitz. I would have had to play really around with the Incineroar, and I think it might have been a losing game, so it's actually closer than you think. Even if I did play pretty much almost all the turns, I think what I've had to done to seal this game 100% is switch out the Dialga into the Kyogre slot, and Incineroar for the Fairforn slot, because the switch might have been obvious for the Fairforn. Calm Mind went up, but that's fine. We can Ice Beam in U-turn. And that should seal it up. Again, the Necrozma can only target one slot at a time, and I only need 2 hits to knock it out. Our power is going to come out into Incineroar, and this might not even knock out. It does, though. That fake out chip was just enough, and it looks like it's max special attack on the Necrozma. But it doesn't matter at this point. We get 2 Ice Beams off, or a Ice Beam and a Dragon Pulse, which is able to seal up this game. We also had Fairforn in the back, which was at full HP, and would have probably been 3 KO'd by the +1 Earth Power. So we were completely fine no matter what. Again, it would have really just came down to being able to hit that Incineroar, and luckily we did hit that Incineroar. We could afford to miss the Necrozma, but the Incineroar was the big target. Again, not one of the best plans when running Origin Pulse, but it's the thing I went for. Dragon Pulse. Ice Beam does seal up the game. Earth Power going to come out into Dialga, which is fine. And Dialga showing it can do a lot of work. As we saw, Dialga was able to tank that +1 Earth Power, get the Trick Room up, which was super huge, and we got some really good damage off. We were able to get that Dragon Pulse off an Incineroar, which did a very impressive amount. Is it like 30 to 40%? That's kind of insane, actually. Because usually Earth Power did that much to standard Incineroar, so I'm guessing that's more of an offensive Incineroar, I'm guessing. But yeah, we were just able to pull through, thankfully. Live that Earth Power, get Trick Room up, and again, Fairforn was able to do a ton of work against my opponent. But hope that everyone enjoyed today's episode of VGC 2019 Baek Battles. A really strong start for this Dialga team, starting off with the 3-0. If you did enjoy it, please leave a like down below, show us your support. For those, you can check out my other stuff, such as my social media, the Patreon page I have, if you do want to support my content and go that extra mile. And of course, if you do want to try out this team, there's a placement of this team with the EVs, IVs, and other stuff, the movesets, all that good stuff is linked in the description down below. Be sure to go check it out. Let me know how you like it on Pokemon Showdown, or if you want to play on Battle Spot, feel free to. But otherwise, thank you all for tuning in. Have a great day, people, and until we battle again, I'll catch y'all later.